Greetings, travelers. I'm sure you're all sick of me by now, but always remember that I have to wake up and see myself in the mirror every day. I didn't think I'd be back so soon, but I remembered my duty to save this community, because everyone watches my class guides. Today, I'm mad. Maybe you can't hear it in my voice, but it might have been that run of Hades that shouldn't have died. Or the fact that my waifu will never be real. I didn't think I was qualified to make a guide towards Astrologian, but after running duty roulette and seeing the depths of the community again, I realized I'm probably one of the most mediocre Astrologians on the planet. It's not the player's fault the game misled so many, so I'm not wasting time. Let's do this shit. We begin with the most important thing on Yami Yugi. Oh, you thought we were gonna talk about tarot cards? Know your fucking place, trash! No, we're gonna talk about sects. Wait, what's the plural of sect? Sects. Okay then. You get Diurnal sect at level 30 and Nocturnal sect at 50. I know this can be hard, but thankfully we all have a background in theoretical computer science, so I made a nice, non-definite finite automata to help you learn when you should use which sect. Since you probably can't understand this chart, let me begin with this. You should always use Diurnal sect in almost every case. You're healing alone? Diurnal sect. Your other healer is useless? Diurnal sect. Unsure what to use? Diurnal sect. Your other healer is a Medica 2 bot or another TCG player. Maybe you can use Nocturnal sect. What do these do exactly? You only get to choose one for an entire combat sequence and affect a grand total of 5 of your buttons. Specifically, Diurnal sect will give you regen on most of these abilities, and Nocturnal sect will give you shield or occasionally damage reduction. You might wonder what all this means, but to summarize, regens are always your strongest heals, and they will heal more in total than any of your other abilities. However, they have to actually heal from most of their ticks of regen to be useful. If everyone's health is full and your regen keeps ticking, that's about as useful as knowing when once or twice is removed when describing cousins. Exactly, not useful at all. However, in 4-man dungeons, when your tank is probably never going to hit 100% HP while tanking trash, you can get all the ticks of that juicy regen and make your workload way easier. If you use Nocturnal sect in a 4-man instance, my disappointment in you is going to be immeasurable, and obviously you weren't taught by the best. Nocturnal sect is only on the table if you have another healer. If you have a white mage, your regens will stack with theirs, surprisingly. However, in normal content, it becomes very easy for those regens to top everyone off and waste all their heal ticks when everyone's already full HP. In this case, having the shielding here is probably better. However, the regen is still not completely useless in that case, and you can probably get away with it anyways. Similarly, if you have 2 card gamers, your regens do not stack, so it's a game of chicken for whoever gets to be useful and whoever gets to shield. Lastly, your shields do not stack with scholars, because the only people who hate scholars more than themselves is Square Enix. You have completed your initiation, it's time to learn the mechanical keyboard ASMR. Alright, now let me just look up a class guide real quick. Ah, fuck. My favorite content creator hasn't uploaded a guide to Astrologian yet. Guess I better subscribe in case he uploads one soon. Oh, apparently he also streams on Twitch. What a loser. Anyways, if you feel like your mindset is not right for a healer and you need to learn how to weave, then watch my guide The Scholar to really know what it means to survive. Alright, I hope I didn't forget anything useful. Oh god, I'm sorry baby, I love you. All 6 of our cards do the exact same thing. They're all DPS buffs. Either it's more damage for melee DPS or range DPS. You think it'd be straightforward, and you'd be very wrong. I'm telling you the cheat sheet right now. At level 50, you get Minor Arcana. If it looks like this, then the card you have is a melee DPS card. If it looks like this, then it's ranged. Because Arrow is a fucking melee card. I'm sure this is leftover for when cards have other uses, but seriously, this makes no fucking sense. Each card comes with one of 3 different seals. Your goal is to get all 3 seals so that your divination buff is the biggest it can be. I want to be clear that you should weave all your card playing in between all your GCDs. Thankfully, Astronomer has cast times low enough that you can always weave 1 off GCD between any GCD. If you don't like the card that you got, and the seal is bad, you can always redraw up to 3 times. However, this game will basically never give you the 3rd seal that you want. God, I fucking hate RNG. You should be able to get 4 card draws in before you cast Divination. If you already have 3 seals, or you do not want to gain the seal that you drew, then use Minor Arcana instead to give a big buff that doesn't give a seal. And finally, we use Sleeve Draw every 3 minutes to give you a guaranteed free 3rd seal. However, this is where it gets nice and tricky. You have to be considered in combat to actually gain a seal when you give someone a card. So just cast your dot on an enemy to ensure you're in combat before you play your first card. That's everything you need to know to play the card game under the table while raiding. You should probably be playing Final Fantasy XIV though while you're learning how to play card games. So let's get through some of those dungeons. When fighting a single enemy, make sure to keep your dot in the form of Combust always active, and use Malfric for single target GCD damage. When fighting usually 3 or more enemies, use Gravity to deal damage to a target and all enemies around it. I should probably mention how to heal. Aspected Benefict will apply regen assuming you're using Diurnal, which you should be in a dungeon. Use this on your tank to heal them while you go back to playing your card games. To heal everyone, you can use Aspected Helios to give everyone regen, or shields. You know the drill by now. Your regens from both Aspected Benefict and Aspected Helios do stack, so you can layer those legens while getting through trash if that suits your fancy. When you see your tank getting nice and low, that's when you weave in an Essential Dignity, because it heals more the lower your target's health is. You know you used it successfully if your tank is sweating profusely right before you cast it. When you need to get that extra healing mile, always use Benefic 2 for single target GCD healing. To heal everyone, you can always just use regular Helios if regen doesn't satisfy your current healing needs. We also have many ways to heal in between those fat GCDs. Your goal as a healer is to try and use off global cooldowns as much as possible until you absolutely need to heal using GCDs to prevent death. Celestial Opposition will heal everyone and either give them a regen or a shield depending on sect. Celestial Intersection is the rebellious teenage single target heal that likes to do the opposite of whatever your current sect does. Use it to weave a heal and occasionally make the opposite effect useful. Now we finally get to the real big boys. Meteor Swarm can be used quickly as a big heal and damage for anything that's within reach. However, you can also let it charge up for 10 seconds and it becomes even bigger. This is what seeing into the future can really do to make you stronger. If you know a fight already, you can plan your comments accordingly. But if you suck like me, you can always just toss it out there when you need the heal. Horoscope is more confusing than it needs to be. It can be used as a quick off GCD heal if you need it fast, or you can use it and then cast your GCD Aspected Helios that heals everyone. This will then power up Horoscope and make it heal twice as much than it would have otherwise. Synastry is a move that will make your single target heals heal one other person a little bit. It's not exactly the most useful skill, but it does have its use case somewhere. I'm just not qualified to tell you what that is. Collective Unconscious is another unnecessarily confusing ability. As long as you don't move, this field will both reduce damage and provide regen. However, when anyone walks into this bubble, they will get a buff that lasts for 18 seconds, and a buff that is only active while you stand there like an idiot. If you have Diurnal Sect, then the regen will last even if you only use this ability for a second, and if you have Nocturnal Sect, the damage reduction will last longer. I don't recommend standing still with this move unless you're once again in a battle that requires you to wait around for the boss to finally do something. And as usual, the regen is typically more useful. Now we finally have Neutral Sect. This will temporarily turn you into a Scholar and a White Mage at the same time, and will make all of your healing generally stronger. To really advance your gameplay to the next level though, we should talk about your game plan and other utility. First, we need to get an optimal opener. You need a full 30 seconds to draw a card and for it to be back up before the fight starts. This way you can make sure that you're in combat by getting a Malfric casted before you play that card. Once you get a seal, draw another card to get a different seal, and then get a third card from sleeve draw to get your guaranteed third final seal and get the damage bonus up at the start of the fight. I do not use this class in high-end content, so this is what I say. Just look up the proper opener online. I'm pretty sure it involves using Earthly Dominance 10 seconds before the boss starts so that you can get some big meteor damage in there, but I'm not an expert. Other things you should probably keep track of. Lightspeed will be useful in your opener because it will make every skill minus your resurrection cast instant. Use this when you need to double weave skills, which is probably necessary for your opener. I wouldn't know though. It's also a nice cooldown to have when you need to run around like a headless chicken for mechanics. You should probably use Lucid Dreaming on cooldown to keep up your mana, and remember to swift cast your res when everything falls apart. Always have Limit Break on your hotbar so that when everyone else dies, you can become a hero. So let's review. Always choose a sect before combat. It's probably going to be Diurnal. Make sure to draw a card every 30 seconds and fiddle around and pray to get the correct seal. Don't miss your Divination on cooldown every 2 minutes, and don't miss that free card every 3 minutes. Don't whiff your dot timing, and don't die. Overall, I'd say Astrologian is probably the hardest healer to pick up, but it's also one of the most active if you don't want to fall asleep while playing. I've taught you everything to build a deck. It's up to you to optimize your gameplay. This is probably the most clicky healer in the game, so get out there and work on your skills at StarCraft Brood War.